We have a live webinar scheduled every Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern, streaming on Facebook and YouTube. Before we get started, I want to take a moment to thank the Rag Company for their sponsorship and play a video. All right, as always, I'm Sheldon Kay, the show manager of MTE, and today we have an exciting session from Jody Sedrick and Ron Puzey from Zenware, 2021 Extreme Focus on Your Business with Mobile Software. I'm going to bring them in. You guys take it away.
Sheldon, we're super excited to be here with you guys and ladies tonight. Thank you for the Rag Company for being the key sponsor of such an amazing event. My name's Jody.
And I'm Rod Puzey, and we really want to thank Mobile Tech Expo, the Rag Company. Everybody's involved in this education series. You know, we couldn't go to Mobile Tech Expo this year, but we can still do this, and you can watch it forever. You're preserved.
And we are super excited because one of the things that Rod and I have really talked about, not only internally as an ownership team, but also with our team members and also with our customers, is how do we create true impact in our business? And so we thought, you know, as we're looking back, when we started our business in 2009, and back in the day at Mobile Tech Expo, it was just us and Recon Pro. And it's amazing over the last 10, especially the last couple of years, how many new software companies have come onto the market, bringing amazing technology to you. And so what we thought we'd do is to give you some tips to help you choose the right technology to create the impact that you want on your business. So let me slick to the next slide. There we go. There we go. Awesome.
Okay, so what problem are you trying to solve? That is the main thing you want to look for with technology. And don't confuse features of any software or any technology with the problem you're trying to solve. Really look at your business and think of what is going on and you're trying to fix.
And I don't know how many times I've heard this from especially a family-owned business or an overwhelmed accountant that's saying, I want my weekends back. I want my evenings back. I want to spend some time with my family. And the real problem they're trying to solve is to recapture that time.
Yep. The other ones are, I want to grow my business. You know, I don't want to be the only person doing this, right? If you're a one-man or one-woman shop, anytime you're not spending working on a car, you're working on the business and it's taking away from the money you're earning. So how do you grow that business? And technology is a great way to do that if you're using the right tools.
Some of the other challenges that we've heard over the years is, all right, I'm expanding, I'm growing. How do I manage multiple locations? How do I manage multiple teams? How do I just manage my own team, especially when you're going from a single operator to maybe hiring those first employees at 1 and 2 and trying to figure out how you're going to manage schedules, manage team members, and how they're going to move forward?
A big, huge one we hear all the time is my payroll is a nightmare. I need a better way to track and pay my people. How do I track commissions? And that's a huge one to look at. A lot of times you need to look within yourself and see, is your pay structure so complex that no system is going to take care of it? We've seen that dozens of times where somebody's gone from this software to that software to this software and back to ours and over to theirs just because they have such a complex commission structure that sometimes you got to look within.
Yep. And you know, a lot of you guys are managing not only teams and customers, but you're also managing product, right? Whether it's product for your retail customers or for your wholesale customers. Sometimes you're looking at your inventory and you're going, where did it all go? I just bought 50 gallons. And so you got to find a solution that's going to address that problem.
Yep. The other big one is I want to communicate better with my customers. We all know that it's much easier to get an existing customer to come back and get business from them than it is to go get a new customer. So you've got to make sure you're communicating really well with your customers. They want that all-around experience. Your technology should enhance that and help you manage your customers better, not make it more cumbersome.
And these are just a few ideas that we've encountered over the past couple of years. These are real questions that customers are coming to us saying, I need to solve this problem. And it's really easy to look at the features and not look at the problem. So make sure whatever technology that you're looking at, that you're addressing the problem. Because like the very last one, we had one of our guys, he's like, I have 3 vans out that are managed, but I don't know what products on each one. How do I know when to order product? Can I transfer in between vans? Those kind of issues are real problems that are addressed, that you as business owners are having to address. And so make sure that you're addressing the problem, not the feature set. Now,
what is most important to you? That is the question that anybody should be asking you when it comes to technology. Not what's most important to me or Jody, but what's most important to you and your business. And there are key ways to find this out. We hear it all the time. You need to write those things down, make a list, mind map it. There are tons of ways to find out what's really important to you, but you need to take the time to think about the business. And instead of just doing the business, focus on the business and find out what is most important. What is the biggest impact to your business?
And make sure that you're involving all of the key players. A lot of times we get the guy out in the field that's driving it. Oh man, I need to get my invoices out quicker. But they're not talking to accounting, or they're not talking to the manager that's dispersing the technicians to go out and do things. So make sure that you're including all of the people that are going to be impacted by the technology that you're going to adopt. Now, remember, sometimes when you're going through this process, you will discover what you think is a real problem is not the real problem. So make sure that as you're looking at it, you're diving into what is the real problem, not just what you see on the surface level. And as I thought about this, I thought about World War II, the Navy, they started to analyze all of their planes that were attacked. And so when the planes came back that survived, they started analyzing all of the bullet holes in the planes. And they're like, well, we need to reinforce the wings, the tail wings, the rudders, all of these core areas of the plane. And Abraham Wald said, no, wait a sec. We need to look at this differently, because you're looking at the planes that survived. The planes that survived had holes in their wings, but the ones that didn't come back, we need to reinforce the engines, the power compartment, the cockpit for the pilot to protect the pilot. So sometimes, a lot of times when we're looking at problems, we think we understand the real problem, but we need to recognize that sometimes the real problem is not where you expect it to be.
Yep. And we have a client. This is a real world example from last week, where we have a bigger client, and what they thought the problem was an accounting issue. They thought it was a payroll issue of getting their people into accounting and getting them paid. And what we realized that once we involved the people in the field was it was not an accounting issue. It was getting the people listed on the work order and getting the guys and the gals' names on the work order so that they would be counted and get their commission. So that's real world examples of how you need to look at what the actual problem is and not the surface. A lot of times what we call it in some industries is systematic troubleshooting. Always start with the simplest thing. Don't jump into the most complex all the time, and just really look at it. Where you expect it might not be where it's at.
And that's the thing about that example is perfectly in line with that, because the simplest solution was it came down to a training issue.
Yeah.
We needed to train them how to add the technicians at the time of service, rather than trying to have the back office manage those technicians after the fact. And when it was really happening with the manager in the field going, hey, these are my guys, I'm assigning you to this car, and you're gonna get paid because I got you on the system. Excuse me. So make sure that you remember that you need to align problems to features. I mean, there are phenomenal products on the market and they have great features. A lot of us have very similar features, but you need to make sure that you're aligning your problems to the feature set of the technology that you're going to invest in.
And make sure it's also looking at your future goals. Don't set yourself up to fail by solving a problem today, but not looking out 2 months, two years, whatever, and knowing that there's going to be something out there. You can't always see far into the future, but you can see enough ahead of what you've already got in your head. So we're going to look at things like,
well, we're going to look at, are you need to CYA, cover your, you need to, your customer saying, hey, you put this scratch in my car. So do you need to do photo capture? Do you want to use photo capture as a social media marketing tool to highlight your tools? So it could be you're trying to CYA, or it could be a strategic move to say, you know what, we're going to use our work and we're going to highlight it on Instagram and we're going to drive more business. So do you need photo capture?
Yep. Another way we're looking at a problem and not just the feature is dealerships. If you're doing any work at dealerships, are they questioning your bills? Are you making sure you're not double billing? Another CYA thing is scanning the VIN and checking on historical service data. That is a really easy way to cover yourself and make sure that you're doing what you said you would do and that you get paid. Time and time again, we hear customers call us up and say, I just lost $7,000 worth of invoicing last year because I could not definitively make sure that I worked on that car. And they had no idea once that black Dodge was out the door, which one it was. Well, if you're scanning that VIN, you know exactly which one it was.
And in line with that, I think a lot of times we hear guys and gals struggling with getting paid on time. They do a lot of work and then they're waiting for the invoice to come. And what they discover is that they forgot to turn in the invoice. So one of the things that you could implement, if your technology has, is automatic sending of those invoices based on a condition, when the work's completed or maybe 30 days later. So when do you want to get paid? Did you remember to send the invoice? And is the technology going to enable you to solve that problem?
Yep. Another big one we talked about earlier, we touched on, was getting follow-up appointments. We've been to multiple locations where people have this stack of papers and they say, you know what that is? That's that really important stuff I was supposed to follow up on. Well, having a technology that will automatically invoice or send out text notifications, not just because you did a service, not just because, hey, your car's done, or hey, your service is scheduled for next Thursday, but technology that will send out a reminder 6 months after you've done a ceramic coating to have somebody come in for a follow-up, and that you don't have to remember to do that. Because how many of us can remember 6 months from now to call up, Mrs. Smith and get her to come back in? So the system, the technology that you use needs to have some automatic things to send out texts and emails to get you that follow-up business without even lifting a finger.
And what do you do if you have tiered pricing structure? You have a high volume customer that you give a break on different service pricing. You need to have a system that will allow you to preset those pricing so that when you add the service, that the system does the accounting for you. It builds the bill as you're going, and you don't have to worry about it.
Another one that people really struggle with is inventory. And everybody knows inventory is a pain. It's a real pain point for people. But the problem is, oh my gosh, I'm out of product. What do I do? Last year, we all saw a reduction in the production of products. And it was hard to get things. It was hard to get chemicals. It was hard to get, pre-coat. It was hard to get a lot of different things because people's manufacturing were going to a different direction. So having a system that can tell you where you are when it comes to inventory and being able to order that inventory right in the field. I'm out working on a car. I'm a mobile guy. Oh my gosh, I'm out of this product. Being able to just push a button and order that product, that is super important. Being able to transfer. If Jody and I work at the same company and we're both in mobile vans, or he's brick and mortar or whatever, and I know that he's got more of this product at the shop, and I can just say, hey, I need you to transfer 5 gallons of this over to me, and then just keep doing your job. It's all about just keeping you going and keeping production going and not having to spend your time doing the manual tasks of getting things like inventory. Any technology you use should take care of that for you.
I think one of the biggest challenges that is highlighted on this is you need to have a pulse on your business. So is the reporting engine included as part of your solution? Will you be able to get the data out of the system that will help you make the best decisions for your business, whether it's ordering product, doing training on services, because maybe you have a service that seems to take forever by one technician, and it's like, wow, why do we have this gap on this one service type? And go, well, you know what, maybe we need to get some training in-house to help that team member or our team do better on those services. So have reporting that gives you the intelligence on how you're marketing, how effective that marketing is. Is it converting into actual dollars? What kind of business is this customer doing versus that customer? What kind of service dollars am I making from all of my different service offerings? So you need to have the intelligence presented to you in a way that you can make the best decisions for your business to grow.
One of the things you need to do is include your bookkeeping, include your accountants. At the end of the year, we need to turn all this stuff into our bookkeepers and our accountants and know that all of our taxes and everything are just taken care of, and I don't have to redo all that. So make sure that the problem of having your invoices and all of your accounting, that your system is just transferring that seamlessly into either QuickBooks Desktop, QuickBooks Online, or some other accounting system. But that's very important so that at the end of the day, your accountant just gets your files and they know what you're doing, and it's absolutely seamless.
And one of the big things that I've been hearing more and more is I need to track my guys' time. And the problem is a human factor. And what I found is while we try to adopt technology and we want it to improve our business, a lot of times we ignore the human factor, because sometimes getting somebody just to turn in a timesheet can be just as challenging as to getting them to use technology. So make sure that, because we can program, in fact, we have time tracking in our system, but for somebody to click the button, you still have a human factor. So recognize, and that goes back to the expectations. You need to make sure that the expectations that you're putting on your team members to adapt and use the technology to help the entire team grow is absolutely critical.
Get an adoption from people. And that brings us to expectations. We are all in the business of helping people realize their expectations, whether that is from the standpoint of a one-time wash of an interior on a minivan to a 3-step correction with a coating on a Ferrari. Those are two different expectations, and they do not mingle, but they coexist in your business. Technology is no different. Make sure that your expectations are being met, but your expectations are also realistic.
Yeah, and I think that's a real important one, because a lot of times, especially with newer people that have not used technology. In fact, a couple of weeks ago, we brought on a new member onto our software, and he downloaded the app and he said, "Hey, Jody, I've scanned my first car. I'm ready to go. How do I add services?" I'm like, we haven't added those yet. So you need to make sure that, yes, it will work, but don't assume it just works, right? Because you need to configure the system. Whatever you do, you need to configure the system to work for your business, which includes your service offerings, your pricing. And so you need to make sure that you're taking the time to implement the solution to have the greatest impact on your business.
Yep. One way to do that is to have a rollout plan. Technology in your business is different than downloading a game off of the Play Store. If I download a game on the Play Store, I go download it, I go in, it works. Everything's there. The expectation is I hit play and I start playing. And that's how those things usually work. Business technology is different. You have an investment. You need a rollout plan. We like to call it a 30, 60, and 90-day plan. You're going to have certain things that are met in the first 30, the first 60, and the first 90 days, to where you've got all of your services, all of your pricing, all of your people, and the training is done so that people understand it. This is a huge commitment, and it should be something that you are fully invested to roll out, not just turning on and it just doesn't work. It's not magic.
So make sure that you take time to learn, educate your team, and discover. And I want to emphasize that discover part. And it goes back to our customer, that they discovered that the real problem wasn't on the accounting side. It was at the time of service side that they needed to to do something with technology. So with the simple training, some simple additions to the configurations to the software, they were able to address the real problem that was facing them, not the assumed problem. So give yourself time to educate, learn, and discover.
Do not underestimate the human factor. No matter what you do, no matter how much money you've spent on technology or what expectations you have, you need to understand there's a human factor involved in that. Employees are going to find the fastest way to deal with it because that's the best way for them to do their job and get it done. It's just like when you're working on a car. It's not that you're cutting corners, it's that you're more efficient. And so the human factor in technology is the same way.
And don't assume your guys will resist, and don't assume that they will adopt. I mean, we've been in businesses and they're like, oh, that guy will never adopt the software. That guy is going to be so hard to train. And that guy is the best guy on the team. In fact, he's teaching everybody else. And then you'll get other guys that are like, dude, I just want to get to detailing. I just want to get to bending metal, correcting this. Leave that alone. I don't want to let somebody else do it. So recognize that some guys are going to be resistant. Some are going to adopt. And you still have that human factor that you as a business owner get to manage.
Yep. I think one of the most important things we can do in technology is this next bullet point. Are you independent thinker, learner, or do you need some guidance? With technology, you have to take a lot of looks in the mirror. You can't be a peacock and all pumped up. If you don't know technology, admit you don't know it. Take the help from the people that do know it and learn. It's just like I said before, it's like a new tool. You know, if we get a new pressure washer and it has 16,000 PSI, I'm going to be a little tender the first time I put that on something because I'm going to burn through the metal, you know. So make sure that you're taking a step back, setting the stage, asking the questions. If you don't know them, ask the questions. Always ask. Don't just assume that somebody knows, because any of the technology providers do not know what you know, and you don't know what you don't know. So ask the questions and get the information.
And the question to trial or not, that is up to you. There are a lot of challenges with trials. We personally think, you know, I've done trials in the past, and what I've discovered in trials is you might get a 14-day trial, and on the 13th day or the 14th day, you're calling up the vendor and you're saying, sorry, I got busy. I wasn't able to really give the software a try. So make sure that our philosophy is, look, go and interview all of the players, find the one that fits you, and go all in. Invest in the time to learn, educate, discover, and implement into your business. Because when you implement, that's when you're going to get the greatest advantages of technology into your business.
Yep. And then do not underestimate the power of customer service. When you implement a technology like this and your customers automatically get a text message reminding them that they have a service scheduled for next Thursday, when the service is done, automatically getting an email with the invoice in it that tells them how to go pay for it, that is unbelievably powerful. Whether or not you are personally a technology person, it's everywhere in our society today, and people expect that. Again, the expectation of a customer is that you are a professional and you're providing a professional service. So make sure your technology helps you look more professional.
And what is the expectation that you have from customer service? So we thought, you know, not only do we want to really emphasize that you guys look at your problems, look at the problems in your business and look for technology that will give you the feature set that will address those, right? So we came up with these quick tips, and there's a lot of them, but we're hoping that our conversation of really looking at how you're looking at your problems and your expectations will help you make the right choice for your business. So number one, make a list of the features that, notice what I said, make a list of the problems you're trying to solve, right? Are you trying to communicate and better manage your customers? That is CRM. Are you trying to improve how quickly you get paid or sending out invoices? That is invoicing and accounting. Do you need to communicate with your customers? That is notifications. Do you need proof of service? That's VIN decoding, to scan the VIN and capture and show all of the past services that you've done on that. Do you need to pay your guys and track when they need to get paid? That's commissions. So all of these list of items that you're trying to solve need to align with the features that are in the technology that you're adopting.
Yep. The other thing we said that a good tip is this. Look, like we said at the beginning, there are probably 8 different software companies alone in the detailing industry, let alone invoicing and sending stuff out through QuickBooks. There are tons of software packages you can go to. You're never going to hear Jody and I badmouth somebody else's software or critique them for what they have or haven't built. There's a specific reason they've done that. We recommend that you talk to more than one company. Interview those companies. Get on and do a demo. Talk to them about what their software does, because just like these arrows on this slide, your path is totally unique to your business. And what works for you may not work for the guy next door, or the gal next door, or the person across the country. It's just like in detailing. If you live in Maine, you deal with salt on the roads and snow. If you live in Phoenix, Arizona, you deal with deathly heat. So you have to deal with software the same way. What works for you doesn't work for another person. So talk to multiple people until you find something that works.
And as we pointed out, if you do a trial, make sure you understand what that looks like. And if you're going to do that, make sure that you're committed to do a trial, right? Or if you just need that, the feature set that you need, find the provider that's going to give it and go all in. Invest in your team, invest in the company, and make sure that they're standing behind you.
Yep. And that is one of the, when we get to these last couple of tips, number 5, who owns the data and can you get it? Make sure you ask the questions, whether it's software for invoicing, a website, I don't care what the technology is, find out who owns that data and make sure that it's you. Let's get right to the point. You need to own your data, your customer information, your services, your pricing. That needs to stay and belong to you, not somebody else.
And it needs to be kept in
a repository for you. And you need to have access to it. Ask those questions. What if I don't like your service? What if I decide to leave in 3 years? Can I get my data? If the answer is no, put that on your list. No, I can't get the data from this company. It doesn't mean that it's an absolute no, but you need to make sure you're asking those questions, because that data is a gold mine to you. That's your company. That's your customers. That's the services you've provided.
And what does support look like? Can you get the help when you need the help? Because we know automotive companies, they're running at 24/7 almost, right? So you need to get the help when you need it for your guys. So make sure that whatever technology, you can get the help that you need when you need it.
Yep. Make sure you get a phone number, an email of multiple people that you can get a hold of when there's a problem, not if. There will be a problem. It's technology. So when there's a problem, who do I get a hold of them? How do I get a hold of them? The other one is, who is behind the software? Find out who owns the company. Find out how many people they have. Where are they located? Where are their developers? Do they have somebody that can visit you in person? Is there a group of people behind this? Or is it some kid in a closet somewhere in his garage? That may be the best solution for you. The guy right down the street in his garage. I'm not bad-mouthing that technology, but if there's somebody that's doing that, make sure you understand that, because that helps set, again, your expectations of what to expect. If it's a one-man shop, then when I try to get a hold of that person, I'm getting a hold of one instead of one of many.
Yeah, and that's really, really critical. And the one thing that Rod and I are always encouraging people is like, is the company that you're choosing, the technology that you're choosing, are they invested in the industry? Are they helping elevate the industry? Are they helping it grow? Are they coming in and doing things to help you in your business, like this educational series? I mean, Mobile Tech Expo is investing in helping you grow your business, just like Rod and I. We are very passionate about the automotive detail and recon PDR industry. We want to be your technology partner, and so we invest in it. We want other people to invest in it, because together, as the rag company always says, CEO says, high tide raises all ships. So make sure that the guys behind you, the guys and gals behind you, that they truly are invested in helping your business and helping the industry grow. So with that said, we would love to hear your questions. I mean, we can help you all day explore and make sure that you're doing the right thing for your business. Even if we're not your technology partner, give us a call. We're always willing to be a sounding board. So thank you very much, Sheldon. We appreciate your time. And if you guys have questions, we'd love to answer them.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much. That was awesome. So how would people get in touch with you if they have questions, if they watch this after not live?
So my next slide actually has a way that you can get hold of us. So it's rotafest.com. Rod and I are both on Instagram. Rod's got a great following. I have a great following. You'll see that we do a lot with our families. I do stuff with Father's Fire. We do stuff with Zenware. It's all about creating community. And so that's what our personal IGs are. Then we have RotaFest Detail Memoirs, which is a show that we do every Thursday where we interview the movers and shakers. In fact, Sheldon, we should have you on the show.
Go to YouTube to watch that one. There are over 100 episodes of detailing vendors, leaders, business owners. I mean, it's a great series to watch or listen to, not because of technology, because we usually focus on the business owner themselves. So that's a great resource just for the detailing community.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely. I'd love to be on anytime. So do you have a question or two? I want to ask you guys one just personal that kind of hit me as you were talking. So I've seen obviously a lot of shops adopting mobile apps and technology to help them accommodate their growing business. One of them, my detailer I use in Las Vegas, I used to just text him and say, hey, buddy, you got time to take care of my car today or whatever. And I love the little banter we'd have back and forth, personal touch. And now he's grown so big. He has, just a scheduling system. I have to go in, find a spot. What do you think about that loss of personal touch, and how would you address that?
There is a loss of personal touch, and I think it has to do with the size of a company. It doesn't have to be. That's the thing is technology can actually enhance that. And one of the ways to do that is with reminders and with notes. I always use this example. We've got a customer that's been with us since day one, and they actually put personal notes about a customer in there so that, for instance, when this gal comes in and they know that she really, really loves her dogs. She's super passionate about her dogs. And so no matter who is at that front counter, and this is a company that has over 15 mobile techs, whoever's at that front counter, when she comes in, they know that she really has these dogs she's passionate about. They ask how her dogs are doing. And it keeps her coming back. And you don't have to lose that personal touch. I mean, we know our customers. They call us personally on our phones. I can get a call right now from somebody, and they would call me as opposed to calling the service or our support department. So I don't think it has to be lost. I think you have to go out of your way to make it part of your business.
Oh, that's great. I love that about the dogs. That's really cool.
Yep.
We do have a question here from Onsite Detail. Can your software service businesses with multiple locations?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we have two ways of doing that. We have a location feature, but we also have what we call regions. And so you can set up a separate location as a region, and that region can be your brick and mortar and a mobile. It can be multiple mobiles. It can be 2 locations in 2 different states.
Yeah, in fact, we have one customer that has 15 different regions that they're servicing across, but we also have a customer that they actually have different businesses that they're managing, and all of that data is rolled up into a reporting server so that the business owners can then make the decisions for a different segment of each one of those business lines of business. So very flexible, very powerful in that way.
Awesome. Well, that's great. I have another question for you. So I'm just guessing here, but the data out of your system or any of these systems is probably a little bit overwhelming. And I'm just guessing probably the biggest error you see people doing is not take advantage of that data to actually make informed business decisions. Is that accurate, or?
Yes. No, that's fairly accurate, because I think a system is only as good as the data you're putting in and what you can get back out of it. And so there's no reason to do a thing like track a VIN number and the number of services you've done on a car if you can't report on that. And so reporting tools are extremely important, and then what you can do with those reporting tools. So our tool actually has a way to download any report that you do to either a PDF or a CSV for further dissemination of whatever you want to do with that data, all the way down to silly things like how many times did I use that product or that service throughout last month. So it's very underutilized, but I think it's probably one of the most important things. I mean, I've heard different people say something like, if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. And that's really true.
And what's interesting is every customer is really unique. about their approach to that. We have one customer that is super anal retentive about tracking every single lead that comes into our system. So we call that campaigns. So when he gets a new customer, he lists how he gets it. And his campaign levels are like, he's probably got 100 or more, and they're all subsetted, right? And so he can actually track to the dollar amount which campaigns are making him the money, which are actually converting into estimates and into work orders and finally into invoices. So there's a lot of power, but what we found is it really comes down to the business owner's personality of how he makes decisions based on data versus maybe just his inspiring personality like me.
That's great. So, yeah, I mean, the ability to download the data is fantastic. Have you guys, looking to the future, thought about, predictive analytics and saying, have the software actually give recommendations based on what it's seeing for something the owner might not even have thought of? Like, hey, what if?
As a matter of fact, we're actually developing that right now. So yeah, it's funny you should ask that. We should give you $5 for an advertisement. But yes, so there's BI tools that we're putting together that would actually take and this all came from a detailer in the Florida area that was looking to purchase a building. And the bank came to him and said, you need to show me this data. And so I worked with him to say, he said, tell me everything I've done in the last year and categorize it by service and by dollar. And so we were able to do a predictive analysis of, okay, in 2018, I did this many ceramic coatings. I'm putting double the advertising in there. So we're going to predict a quarter more growth, very conservative growth of what it was going to be. And we were able to predict out, and he was able to get a business loan to purchase a building that was 3 times what he originally had based on the predictive tools from our software.
Well, and one of the fun things too is right now we're working with another customer that says, hey, I want to see how am I tracking on a month, right? So right now we're actually building some tools that will enable him to go, all right, as of this week, I'm at X dollars. In order for me to make changes to my business to hit this goal, I need to do X, Y, and Z with my team.
Wow. That's great. Well, I think that about wraps it up for us, guys. Do you have any last remarks or anything?
No, we just want to thank you. Sheldon, you have been phenomenal support in putting this together. We want to thank the Mobile Tech Expo team. I mean, the entire team, Susan Schwartz and everybody at Wheels and everybody, you guys have been absolutely phenomenal. We, of course, want to thank the Rag Company, Levi Gates, Anthony, Dane, Carolyn. I mean, they are just phenomenal. So we appreciate your support. And seriously, guys, if you just want to bounce ideas off, you have a business problem, reach out to Rod or I. Even if you're not using our software, we want you to be successful. And we are always willing to have the discussion, to be a sounding board, because at the end of the day, we want to have an impact on your business. And we want you to have the greatest impact on your business for your team, your customers, and ultimately for your family.
Awesome. That's so generous of you guys to offer out. So I hope people take advantage of that and hit you up and try to get some good advice there. So thanks again for coming on. I'm going to drop you down and talk about what we have coming up next week. So thanks for joining us today. That was a really great session. I learned a lot. I'm a big data nerd, so I love some of that stuff. Next week at Thursday, again, 6 p.m. Eastern, we have Mike Phillips coming in. He's going to give us a session on boat detailing. This is one we've gotten a huge request for. So he's actually going to have some boats there, and he's going to teach us a couple things, including machine wet sanding to remove deep oxidation, rotary polish techniques to remove sanding marks and heavy oxidation, orbital polisher techniques to remove holograms and create a showboat finish, and how to install a ceramic gel coat coating to lock in the shine and lock out future oxidation. So again, thanks for joining. Lastly, we want to make sure we thank our supporting sponsors, G Technique, Coach Chimie, PNS. Have a great night, everybody. I'm Sheldon K. I will see you next week.